As a high school guy, there's nothing we want more than an empty house all to ourselves. I probably would have invited a few friends over and enjoyed it for a few days. But I was so angry that I didn't even feel like doing that, especially since I was fighting with my friends and didn't really have anyone to invite. I told my mother she needed to apologize for this. I could understand that Eddie didn't like talking to me, but the bare minimum they could do was at least tell me they were going somewhere before they left. It's not nice to just wake up one morning and realize you're all alone. She told me I was making a big deal out of it and needed to get over it, then hung up before I could respond. When I tried calling her back, she didn't answer and texted me, saying she was trying to enjoy her trip and would talk to me once she got to the hotel. I was so upset about everything that I decided to leave. I knew it meant the house would be empty, but I didn't care. I tried calling my mother again to let her know, but she didn't answer, and it went straight to voicemail. So, I locked up the house and put the keys under a potted plant, like my mother usually does, and went to my dad's place. When I arrived, my dad was surprised to see me because he expected me to stay with my mother until the end of the month. I told him everything that had been going on with Eddie and his kids, how Eddie had even trained his kids not to talk to me, and how my mother didn't care enough to address it, no matter how much it hurt me. Her excuse was that Eddie had his personal reasons, which she deemed valid, but she wasn't willing to tell me what they were, so I could make sense of what was going on. I put up with this for my mother's sake. I wanted her to be happy, and she often reminded me of the sacrifices she made for me, so I could do this for her. But it was becoming too much. I couldn't tolerate it anymore, and I was done. After venting to my father, he said he would take care of everything for me. He was obviously upset, but he didn't say anything harsh about my mother to me. He just told me he was glad I'd share this with him and that I'd be living with him now. If I wanted to go back to my mother, it was my choice, but he didn't recommend it. For the next 5 days, I didn't try to call my mother, and the funny part was that she didn't try to call me either. The least she could have done was keep in touch with her son, whom she'd left home alone while she went off with her new family. I was hurt, but after speaking to my father, I felt considerably lighter and decided I wasn't going to let it bother me. After about 5 days with no contact, she finally called. I thought she'd check up on me, but instead, she was yelling at the top of her lungs. It took me a moment to realize she was angry because they'd been robbed. Apparently, a lot of things were missing, including their television and some expensive items. For some reason, she was blaming me. After she stopped yelling, I explained that I'd tried calling her several times to let her know I was leaving to stay with my dad, but she'd ignored my calls. She told me I could have texted her, which is fair, but I didn't do it on purpose. I was mad and thought I'd made it very clear to her. I told her she shouldn't have expected me to stay home if I didn't want to. We got into a massive argument because she believed I should have stayed home no matter how upset I was, since this was a matter of safety, and she'd been counting on me. But I hadn't agreed to that in the first place. These were the consequences of her choices, not mine. Final update, my mom's new husband takes his kids and are on vacation, leaving me home alone without saying a word. So I go to stay with my dad, and everything spirals out of control. I found it very ridiculous that they were trying to blame all of this on me, including Eddie. The first time he spoke to me in the last couple of years, it was only to yell at me and blame me for my carelessness. He said a couple of other very confusing things as well, like he had always known that I would be the cause of ruin for them. I don't even know what that is supposed to mean because we don't interact. I don't know how he came to that conclusion without even speaking to me. Anyway, my parents are now fighting because my dad thinks that this is my mom's fault, and so do I, but she thinks that this is my fault. Now my mother is demanding that my father pay her for the damages, since she thinks that if he is defending me for doing this, he should be ready to pay the price for it. I don't understand what to do now, and she will only drop it if I at least apologize to her and